I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone. I need to turn this one on first. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin today's meeting, I want to pause and reflect on the significance of this day first. 24 years ago, on September 11th, nearly 3,000 lives were lost, and countless families and first responders were forever changed. The tragedy and the trauma of that day still echo across our nations. We honor those who perished. We remember the extraordinary courage of those who ran toward danger to save others. And we stand with the families, the communities, who continue to carry the burden of that loss. Here at JPS, our mission is rooted in those same values: resilience, compassion, and service. We are more than a safety net hospital for the underserved. As the county-only public health system and a level 1 trauma center, we carry those responsibilities of being ready every hour of every day, and whatever challenge comes to our community. Whether that is a single patient in crisis or a mass event that tests the limits of our county's resources, GPS stands prepared to respond. The memory of 9/11 is a reminder of why readiness, responsibility, and service matter. Not only for the patient we see each day, but for the safety of the security of our entire county. In their memory and in recognition of the service that continue to inspire us, I ask that we observe a moment of silence. At this time, I ask Angela to come in and sit for our prayer and pledge of allegiance.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we pause with gratitude for the privilege of serving our JPS community. Though we may plan our way, we ask that you guide our steps. Bless us with wisdom and humility, that our leadership may reflect your love, justice, and care. Grant us strength in our decisions and clarity in our conversations. May this meeting be fruitful, our work be meaningful, and our actions pleasing in your sight. Amen. And now, please stand with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, I would like to invite Ms. Nan Terry to the podium. You want to read that, please?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have one registered speaker, Ms. Nan Terry. She wants to speak on the interlocal cooperation agreement between Tarrant County and Tarrant County Hospital District for Correctional Health Services. Just as a reminder, Ms. Terry will have 3 minutes to speak on the topic, and the board will refrain from making comments.
Good afternoon. I'm Nan Terry. I'm the lead of the jail action team of the Justice Network of Tarrant County. The consensus amongst my group and others is having this local agreement between Tarrant County and its partners in correctional health is exciting. I was working until spring of 23, and the discussions to have this agreement was ongoing before I started in this arena. So we thank you for the hard work that you've done and hope you continue down this path. Without having a copy of the document to review until this morning, I can't really give you in-depth comments, but I do have a few comments. The applicable jail standards, in no way should JPS be prevented from providing the highest standard of care, not the minimum as required by the jail standards. The Commission on Jail Standards really is looking at the bare minimum, and I know JPS does more than that, and so we would like that reflected. The written procedures, our question is, do these policies and procedures apply to all jail staff or just JPS employees? For instance, related to detox, the jail staff actually told us in an open records request they have no protocols and knew nothing of detox protocols, but JPS does have jail detox protocols. And on those written procedures, might that also include training for jail staff to recognize distress for detox protocols and what other else might be needed in other contexts? Regarding the morbidity and mortality review, we would really like you to use the language in the National Institute of Corrections report, which I've spoken on previous. That was a site visit by the Department of Corrections. And it actually asked for all three entities, MHMR, JPS, and jail custodial staff, to have that review. The way it's written in the document, it's requested by the sheriff or his designee, and that concerns us a bit because we think health should be JPS responsibility, not at the request of the sheriff or his designee. We really do like that JPS will engage in continuous process improvement as necessary in connection with these services. And it's a 42-page document, and I know everyone worked really hard on it, and we're very happy that you have seen this. And we hope that the county will approve it on some form on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. The public hearing? Start the public hearing next. We will now open our public hearing regarding the Tarrant County Hospital District Provider Participation Program to hear public comments and consider action concerning, one, the amount of the mandatory provider participation payments that the board intends to require of all Tarrant County local hospitals for fiscal year 2026, and two, how the revenue derived from those mandatory payments is to be spent. We don't have any citizens.
We don't have any citizens signed up for the public.
Since there's no citizens wishing to comment on this issue, we will now close the public hearing. We will now consider approval for the resolution to set the mandatory provider participation payment and rate for fiscal year 2026 and determine how the revenue from those payments is to be spent under the Tarrant County Provider Participation Program. The resolution authorized the collection of mandatory payment from each institutional healthcare provider located in the hospital district, authorized the use of funds collected through mandatory payment for the purposes specified in Chapter 298B of the Texas Health and Safety Codes, and set the rate for the amount of the mandatory payment of the fiscal year ending in 2026 at 6% for the net patient revenue of an institutional healthcare provider located in Tarrant County Hospital District geographical jurisdictional area. Do we have a motion for the resolution?
Move approval of the resolution.
I will now entertain, oh, we have to take the vote, I'm sorry. All in favor, signify aye.
Can we discuss it?
Yes, sir.
So how did we get, does anybody know how we ended at 6%?
We can ask our CFO to come up and.
Because we have some new members, I'm just going to give a little bit of background. So the LPPF is an intergovernmental transfer. It's a transfer in Texas that's between two public organizations, so JPS, or the hospital district, and the state. In order to help those non-public organizations, and this is allowed, to receive uncompensated care funds through Medicaid, DISH, HARP, the other funds that you hear us talk about, JPS is acting as an intermediary for these 38 hospitals where we collect their monies, their intergovernmental transfer. We submit it to the state, and then the feds match, the federal matches it. So for every dollar submitted, $1.50 comes back and is paid to those 38 hospitals. The maximum that it's allowed, and we've been using 6% since 2021, I believe. The maximum allowed is 6%. We moved there in 2021. This is a pass-through fund. We do not benefit from this fund. And so it is allowing the maximum benefit to go to these 38 hospitals that are not public institutions in our service area. Correct. No, and it's based on the revenue that's reported by American Hospital Association. So it's publicly available data. They use a third party to administer it and the program. We send out the bills, 4 bills a year for the intergovernmental payment, and then we submit it to the state.
Any more questions? If not, we're all in favor. Signify aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. I will now entertain a motion to authorize the President and CEO of the Tarrant County to make intergovernmental transfer from the Local Provider Participation Fund to the Texas Health and Human Services Commission for the purpose of specified in Chapter 298B, Texas Health and Safety Code. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Second. All in favor, signify aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Now we go to the next item, the approval of the minutes.
Move approval of the August 14th.
Any second? Second?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I noticed that it didn't show in the minutes that you celebrated my birthday on that day.
Any motion to add that on to the
Happy birthday.
happy belated birthday, sir. All in favor, signify aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed.
Speaking of birthdays, Daphne was yesterday.
Happy
birthday, Daphne.
Thank you.
Do
21 again.
Do we need to sing happy birthday?
No.
The next item is the chairman's report.
You have another set of minutes on item B, their approval of the joint.
Oh, approval of the joint Board of Managers and Finance Planning and Investment Committee meeting minutes. You have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, signify aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. The next item is the chairman's report, and I don't have a long report for this month since we're meeting every week now. Well, over the past several weeks, we have been meeting weekly to work through the budget approval process. I want to thank Dr. Duncan, Kim, and our finance committee and the entire team for their diligence and effort in guiding us through this important work. At our last meeting, this board took an action and approved the budget with a 9-1-1 vote, 9 in favor, 1 opposed, and 1 absent. That decision reflects not only our deliberation, but also our commitment to balance fiscal responsibility with the mission entrusted to us. With that vote behind us, it is important to pause and remind ourselves of why this work matters. JPS is a designated hospital district of Tarrant County that roles carries a profound duty. We are the community safety net. We serve everyone who comes to our doors, regardless of circumstances, and we must always remain standby. Preparedness is not an option. It is essential. Whether we face a public health crisis, a natural disaster, or a catastrophic event that impacts our county, JPS must be ready to respond, equipped with the people, the resources, and the resilience to protect this community. This is our mandate. It is our foundation for every decision we make at this board. The true measure of any society can be found in how we treat its most vulnerable population. The principle defines our mission, why this board service carries such a lasting impact. As you know, the County Commissioner Court has set a tax rate ceiling at 0.165 per 100 valuation. This ceiling provides a framework for our financial planning. We will continue to monitor how it aligns with our revenue projection and budget commitments, while never losing sight of our duty to deliver excellent care to be responsible steward of our taxpayer resource. And then the PEC ribbon cutting yesterday, as we celebrate the milestone of the ribbon cutting for the new psychiatric emergency center. The timing of that event coming just before today's 9/11 anniversary was a powerful reminder of how trauma shaped lives, of why access to mental health care is so critical. September 11 is not just a day of remembrance of the nearly 3,000 lives lost. It's also a marker for how profoundly collective trauma can change a society. It underscores that mental health is inseparable from national well-being, community safety, and long-term resilience. Each year, the anniversary is a chance to honor victims, reflect on national unity, and also acknowledge the unseen scar, the invisible scar, and the psychological wounds that have shaped 2 decades of policy, healthcare, and culture. In this context, yesterday's ribbon cutting is essential, meaningful. It is a reminder that strengthening mental health care is central to strengthening our community itself. It was especially meaningful to have Dr. Phil join us. Over his 50 years career, he has helped move the nation toward open conversation and treatment to mental health, away from silence and stigma. His remark captured the true purpose of this facility, to offer hope, compassion, and healing to those in crisis. I also want to thank both former and current board members who were present. The project was complete on time, and I believe on the budget also as well, on budget, and it stands as a testament of what we can achieve together for the people of Tarrant County. That concludes my report. Thank you all for your continued service, commitment to the hospital, this community, and this responsibility. Now, CEO, your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I was going to, as part of my update, was to speak about the PEC, but you did such an amazing job. I just feel like I just need to maybe play this song. Hey, it actually worked, Tim. These are some pictures. I mean, I think Dr. Phil said it well. It's stunning. I love that one word to speak about the work that has gone on behind this. I believe there were 9 board members who actually attended the event yesterday, so thanks to all of you. It was nice having Judge O'Hare there to give some words of encouragement, and it was just a fun event. We also had in the afternoon an open house for our first responders, and we had an excellent response yesterday, and so I want to thank the team that was behind this. I think Dawn's there. I know her team worked hard, and Shannon also for putting this together, Jill too. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that is my report.
Thank you, Ben. It was well done. The facility is amazing. If you haven't had a chance to visit it, please do. The tour is great also as well. The next item is for the request for approval of the medical staff appointment and privilege. Do we have anybody there?
Yeah, request approval of the routine privileging form
Application.
month of September. In the red packet, numbers 1 through 91.
All in favor, signify aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. HR Committee, Ms. DeRose, your report.
We met on August the 28th, and Ms. McDonald provided an overview of the spiritual care and the employee assistance program, highlighting the services available at JPS. And it was really great for the staff to come and share with us numbers and how everyone impacted, patients and the families here. They gave us a preview of our employee engagement results. And yeah, I can say that they had a high participation rate, and so we will be getting those scores pretty soon. We reviewed the HR matrix, which include, we look at where we rank with other hospitals in compensation and our turnover rate. And so it was all headed in the right direction. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bose. And the next one is the nomination committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank my colleagues, Ms. Dubose and Reverend Emerson, for hanging around after the ribbon cutting yesterday and having our nominating committee meeting. Happy to recommend the vacant position recommendations from the nominating commission for vice chair to be Dustin Austin and the secretary to be Alan Roger, and be happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
I don't have any questions. Do we take the vote individually or?
For each position, yes, you'll.
Okay.
So first would be,
Motion from nominating, so it's just a second review.
yeah, so that we need to vote. The board needs to vote on the
So the
nomination.
nominating committee makes the motion.
The motion, okay.
If it's a motion, is it amendable?
I mean, it would be. I mean,
So I move to amend, Dustin said it about you. I move to amend the nomination for the vice chair to nominate Dr. Holland as vice chair.
What do we do next?
so let's vote on the, I guess he's substituting the nomination, so vote on that and then.
I'll second the motion or the amendment.
And my reasoning for that is I think Dr. Holland is probably the longest tenured member of this board who hasn't served as chair. And I think her medical expertise and maybe even her legal experience, you know how it is, might be helpful.
And
Would you accept it? Sorry.
Can we make further amendments?
So you really want to make a different nomination, because you have what the nominating
This is for-
committee,
Okay, we're just doing vice chair right now.
right, we're doing vice chair.
No, never mind.
Did we vote on?
So let's vote on Holland, and then you can vote on your original nomination.
So we have a motion on the floor for,
do we?
Yes,
we
we
go-
can.
I'm new at this,
Dustin.
so.
but you're not amending the motion relative to Dustin, or are you?
Well, I guess you can consider it that way. I mean, we're amending the motion with the name.
Okay, well then, yeah, we got to amend the whole thing.
So we've got we really have
Well,
to.
you would start the, yeah, I think you
Correct.
did the first motion
So the
first.
first one's
yeah.
already in, you need the second, and then you have to do that, and then you would have the second motion, adjourns. My question would be, I mean, we all talk, I mean, the one thing I think I've heard the most around here is how, like, ridiculously outdated our bylaws are. So, like, at what point are we gonna have that conversation? Because I think that's directly in alignment to this conversation. And so, I mean, I'm generally ambivalent, I'm new, I don't know many of y'all, but I do know that that has been a topic of conversation, and it is very unique to have like an ascending, you know, a required ascendancy, you know, in a board. And so, you know, I can generally go either way, but I do think that that needs to be on the table probably sooner rather than later, because I'm just someone, if I hear something like 3 or 4 times, it should probably be addressed.
Sure.
So-
The succession planning notion is actually not unique. It's actually consistent with Robert's rules, but you are the chair of the governance committee, and that would be where the consideration on making any changes to the bylaws should originate.
You just gave yourself.
Okay.
You just volunteer for that.
So I would just say, no, I do hear you, Robert's Rules of Order, but most of the public entities that I've had, you vote on the chairman every year. Like that tends to be, you know, the process, because you have board members coming on and off and all of I would say, as the chair of the governance committee, I will work with the chair to bring proposed rules or proposed changes in the forthcoming, opportunity. So I don't know what that looks like from timing, but I do think that it's got to be part of the sleeve, moving forward.
That's why you're the chair. So what order were we doing?
First motion for Dustin, and then the second, we'll vote on the amended motion after that, so.
Okay, let's vote on the
The
first
nomination,
motion.
yep.
All in favor, signify aye. What? Can you repeat what we were voting for?
Yeah, so Dustin was the individual
Recommendation.
that was brought forth by the nomination committee. Then Tim made an amendment to that, so really what he's doing is making a nomination for a different person. So our bylaws don't contemplate this, we need to vote on the nominating committee's nomination first.
Don't you vote on an amendment before you vote on the motion?
Right, you vote on whether everybody wants to amend the motion, and if they don't, then.
Yeah, it's not really an amendment though, because the nominating committee had to bring forth a candidate. So really you nominated another person.
So, I mean, I agree, but that's why we talked about it being on the spot motion.
Well, we
Because
can,
it's not an open nomination process.
it's not, and it never has been, because it's not correct.
So I think what you should do about the motion, you vote on the amendment. If the amendment fails, then the original motion.
So can, for simplicity's sake, can we just? Sorry.
Too late.
Just go ahead.
Too late.
For simplicity's sake, can we just do number one and then just follow it down the path, say yes or no to
It's
the
probably,
First Amendment and then go to the second one?
He's saying this, the opposite. He's saying we first need to vote on the,
If anybody has an objection, but if
yeah.
the motion passes.
Yeah, it really just changes the entire motion, so it's not an amendment, but do you want to go ahead and take?
Candidates for the vice chair.
Correct.
That's where we are.
That's really where we are.
So,
But we can vote on,
should we call Commissioner Ramirez? This is Sam Precinct. I'm just kidding.
let's just say, who's in favor of substituting the nominating committee's nomination? So that would be what Tim just proposed.
Okay.
Or we just, I mean, if nobody cares, we just vote them straight over that. I mean, we're not gonna-
That's what I was trying to do.
But when we vote, what are we voting on, the amendment or the motion?
The people. So who is in favor of Dustin? Yeah, because really there are two different, it's not really an amendment, it's two different people. So who is, Trent, who is in
Nominating committee
favor of?
has made the recommendation on the motion that Dustin Austin be vice chair.
Okay, vote on that.
All in favor, signify aye.
Can you raise your
Raise your
hand,
hand.
because we're gonna get a split. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're not voting for
Dustin gets
yourself.
a vote?
Can.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you're on the board. 7. So unless anybody's gonna vote against themselves, Mr. Austin wins that vote.
And so now you have to do the second.
The second,
Chair,
Right.
the secretary.
And so the
Bring
recommendation of the nominating committee was Alan Roger for secretary.
any nomination from the floor? Since we're already doing it.
I think that Judge O'Hara needs a member on the executive committee. And now we would have 2 people from Commissioner Ramirez on the executive committee. And I don't think that's the way this should be. There should be 1 person at this point for Judge O'Hara on the executive committee.
Let me just, for the history's sake, there was 2 from precinct 2 before the change of leadership, because Amanda was vice chair and I was secretary. So it's not uncommon before.
That doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Well, it
Yes,
doesn't mean it's a bad idea either way. I mean,
It might sound weird, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
go ahead, Alan.
but I'm an at-large, if that makes a difference. I was told that I'm not actually Mr. Ramirez, I'm an at-large, if that makes a difference, I don't know.
That's right.
If that puts me in, out, or whatever.
Alan is at large.
You're in no man's land.
You're on island.
You're on an island by yourself.
I mean, the history of the nominating committee has always been that the nominating committee makes a recommendation to the board based on the individuals at the time. It's never based on who appointed who. There's never been any consideration for the politics of this. It's always been about trying to put together the best slate of people that we can for the board. I know that's what this nominating committee did and what the previous nominating committees have done. So while I appreciate the opinion and the sentiment, Blake, there's nothing compelling about that when it comes to the recommendation, because we don't make recommendations based on who appointed who.
Well, Chairman, I don't think that's entirely correct, because I remember when Roger was chair, he appointed at least one chair of a committee from every precinct. And when he made the committee that you and I are on, it relates to the building project, whatever we call that committee, he was intentional about placing one person from every precinct onto that committee. So I disagree.
Those are the committees. That wasn't for the board. We're not voting on the committees.
If I may, we do have a tradition of recognizing leadership from all the precincts.
We
Well,
did.
sure, of course we do.
We do. That's why the,
We don't have that now.
There's no requirement that that be the case.
Trent, let's talk about what's best. Al's a wonderful man. He's been on this board for 4 months. You've got 3 people that have been on this board for almost 3 years.
We can argue about it all day.
A lot
It's
of
not going
talent.
to change the recommendation of the nominating committee.
but let me remind,
Not only is Judge O'Hare not have a representative on the executive committee, but there's no logic to this.
Logic is not part of what we're talking about. We simply made a recommendation from the nominating committee, as we were required to do. We met for over an hour, spent a lot of time on it. We have a lot of qualified people on this board. This becomes basically 1 year's worth of work to move to the next step. So, we can debate the terms and the qualifications. Everybody on this board is great, and I hope everybody gets to serve in the executive committee at some point in time. There does have to be some succession, there does have to be some order to it, and you heard the recommendation of the nominating committee. You're free to vote no.
I'm a little bit confused because just 2 weeks ago, you were complaining about this place is run by board member that's been here for a long time, and you were a new board member sitting at the children's table. Now you have one that just got appointed. I think exposure to the hospital itself and the experience that they earn over their entire lifetime that got them here at the table with us. That's why the judge, the commissioner appoint all of us where we sit today. And I think those qualifications supersede a lot of stuff. And I'm actually amazed that and glad that we shuffle things around for new members to be part of the process, just like what you asked for last time. Right? You said new board members don't get to be considered until 6 years later.
I knew you'd bring that up. I'm not surprised that that was,
So can we vote?
But-
Because we have a motion on the floor.
while I was talking. There's a difference between 8 years and 4 months. That's an obvious difference. When I'm talking about this board having a history of putting the most senior members on, I'm not talking about a 4-month member or a 2-month member. I'm talking about 8 years versus a 2.5-year member. That's a big difference. So I'm going to vote against this recommendation.
Okay, let's take a vote. Do we have motion? Do we have first and second?
All in favor?
All in favor, signify by aye.
Raise
I mean, raise your
hands,
hand.
please.
We vote on that.
3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 and 7 in favor.
All opposed?
Yes.
2,
Sweet.
3, 4. Okay, 7-4 vote.
Motion carries.
Congratulations, Alan. Thank you. Welcome. It's a big. Now we're going to item 10A. Ms. Walker?
Mr. Chair, I have a motion. Can I move to talk about items 10 A through close so we can receive some people also.
I'm fine.
Can we do that?
If he has a-
Sure. I was checking to make sure it's legal.
So we can go into executive session.
I guess we can go into executive session. We're going to close it out for 5 minutes.
You need to be what section we're on.
We're going to, It's now 2:45 p.m. and we're going to resume our regular meeting. At this point, we're going to table item 10, B, C, and D, and then we're going to vote on item A. So,
Yeah,
have a motion?
I can present that. We're requesting approval of a contract between Tarrant County Hospital District and Tarrant County District Attorney's Office. This is an ongoing agreement that we've had with the DA's office for certain legal services. This is a 2-year term for a total cost not to exceed $1,626,563.22.
At this point, entertain a motion for approval. All in favor, signify aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. We don't have any item to discuss, and we're going to adjourn the meeting. But thank you so much for everybody for spending your time with us this afternoon. Thank you.
Karen, appreciate it.